Welcome to the people who are newer. There's no real rules. I'm going to ask that you stay muted while people are telling stories. And you know what? For people that were at the suicide noted story thing, remember we had the thing where people were sending them messages in the chat? Erica and Jay, you were part of that. What do you think we should do? I think I'm going to try doing that today here. I'm wondering if that's, oh yeah, Carroll, yeah. Tell me and I'll forget, teach me and I'll remember, involve me and I'll learn. B. Franklin. Bobby Franklin from Detroit, class of 1981. I know him well. He was older than me, way, just so you're saying. So can I invite people to send the storyteller and or poet questions directly, and then you choose to answer them if you want. And of course you don't have to, because they might be a little weird or irrelevant or uncomfortable, but I'm going to do that just so you know. And also, just so everyone knows, again, I'm recording. So if you do not want me to record when you're telling your story, let me know and I can easily stop the recording. But what I typically do is I'll edit it just a little bit and then I'll put it out. So at least a few people, other people in the world can see it, because I believe rather strongly that these are important. But I understand if you have, for whatever reasons, reservations about this. Carlee, right now I posted on a YouTube channel that only like 11 people in the world ever see. But I do want, so if that's at all a concern though, when I go blow up and go viral, then I can easily pause it and, just let me know. Yeah. K-Ro. Oh, K-Ro, thank you for saying that. K-Ro's name is K-A-R-O, K-Ro. Okay, hey Keith. How's it going? All right, everybody, Erica, do you want to lead us off? Because I know you probably have to leave a little early anyway, because you have a show, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, I'm going to ask everyone to stay muted. And when Eric is done, we'll chat a tiny bit. You can message her directly. You may have time to answer it. I realize in your case, you may not, because you have something you're doing. And we'll have a few other storytellers. And then we'll have a little time to talk, including response to those questions. Cool. Okay. All right, I'm going to mute myself, Erica. And yeah, have some fun.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on one second. Okay. I'm a teacher and a tutor in Los Angeles, and I love it. I believe teaching is my calling. But on this one particular day, I really didn't feel like going into work. I had received some bad news. A friend from high school had died suddenly of a heart attack, leaving behind a wife and two young children. And I was a mess of emotions, angry, sad, confused. And at times like this, I always envy people who believe in an afterlife. But I had to go into work. I had a new tutoring student coming in. And so I headed in and I arrive and I'm standing in the doorway of my classroom waiting for my new student when I see this peanut of a little girl skipping down the hallway, a happy sight, a child skipping, so carefree, so unburdened by the hardships that we sometimes face in this life. She stops when she sees me and she exuberantly announces, "Hi, my name is Anna." And I say, trying to match her exuberance, "Hi, my name is Erica." She's very eager to begin and she sits down and she takes out her notebook and her pencil. And I'm immediately impressed with Anna's thirst for knowledge. We keep stopping along the way and she asks, "What's this word mean? And what's that word mean?" And it's like as though it's her last day to learn. And then I feel a shift come upon her. She had been chatty and then she starts suddenly being quiet and withdrawn. And I ask her, "Are you okay, Anna?" And she says, "Teacher, can I tell you something?" And I say, "Sure, Anna, you can tell me anything." And she says, "You know, I have a disease and I almost died, but my mom gave me half her liver and I survived. And I immediately felt tears well up in my eyes. And I tell myself, hold it, pull it together, Erica. Um, the unfairness that a child should have had to already experience something like this. And she launches into the procedures she had, and without complaint, and friends she made on the ward, and the ones who survived and the ones who didn't, and the one who did but who's only going to live till she's like 24. She explained, my father told me that. I don't know why he had to tell me that. The question hangs in the air. I know why. He wants to brace her for the inevitable reality of what's to come. And then Anna says, can I ask you something? And I say, sure, Anna. And she says, do you believe in heaven? Which I don't, but I know that's not the answer that she needs to hear. And I'm thinking, what am I going to tell this child? I don't like to lie to my students. And what comes to me is this time I had visited an art installation in a museum, and it was called the Infinity Room. And I explained to Anna, it was incredible. At first, I was scared because you walk into this small box-like room all by yourself and it's pitch black. But within seconds, all these dazzling, twinkling lights turn on, and you are surrounded by all these mirrors, and it's like you're ensconced in these lights. And she stops me and she says, ensconced? And I say, like being in a warm hug. And I say, and Anna, I could see my reflection, and it was getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it became one of those tiny white lights. And to me, it gave me a sense of our souls do go on forever, and that we're never alone, and that everything is always okay, whether in life or in death. And so, yes, I guess I do believe in heaven. And Anna says, thank goodness. And I say, yes, thank goodness. Her session's over. She takes her book bag, slings it around her shoulders, and says, see you next time. And I say, see you next time. And then alone at my desk, I let the tears fall, grateful for this moment where student becomes teacher, teacher becomes student, and the weight of what I had been feeling lifts, knowing that my soul and my friend's soul and Anna's soul would all one day be reunited. Okay, that's what I got. Oh,
Nice.
good. It didn't run so long.
No, thank you. And you're going to do that tonight at your Revealed?
Yeah.
If your Erica hosts, produces hosts. Are you going, Jay? Jay, are you in that area? No, you're in San Diego, right?
I'm in San Diego. Yeah. I would love to go sometime though.
Sorry.
Yay.
I'm so good at making things awkward. So I shine in that moment. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Like lean into what you're good at, right? Like I make shit awkward. So do more of that, Sean. Great. Hey, if you guys have gals, I should say gals. Maybe one other. Yeah. Okay. Send them messages. Now you might be thinking, why don't we just unmute and ask the question? We do that after the stories. But in the meantime, right now, if you have a question for Erica about that story or something that jogged, please send it directly to her in the chat. That would be cool. And then she could decide if she wants to answer it a little bit later. And Erica's an exception only because she might be leaving early. So if you have a question. Now, Erica, if nobody has a question, I hope that's okay. Sometimes that just doesn't elicit a question. It's all right.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes you get a
cool.
bunch of weird stuff. You never know. I have no filter. There's no filter here. You're the filter. If you don't like it, you don't answer it. You know? Thank you for that story.
Thank you.
Nice. You still see that girl?
No, that was my old school pre-pandemic, but I have new great students.
I just asked the dreaded coda question. It's like, Sean, you don't get to know that. She would have put it in the story if she wanted you to know that. I'm like,
No,
oh, tell me the extra part.
that's okay. It was
Yeah.
years ago. Sometimes it's just curiosity, not that you need it in the story.
Correct.
Thank
Cool. Well, I hope your show goes well tonight, obviously, as
you.
both storyteller and host, basically everything.
Yeah,
And if people here who are nowhere near LA want to like hop on a helicopter, what time is it?
it's gonna happen soon. I think I have to hop off.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna be able to stay longer, but my friend just texted me that she's gonna be here in 10 minutes. She wants to get something to eat before. Who's driving me? I'm sorry, everyone.
No,
I'm
it's
so
okay.
glad I got to see all your beautiful
I'm
faces.
glad you were able to come and pop that out and
Thank
like a
you.
little extra practice,
Right.
It was really helpful. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Break a leg, Erica.
Bring a leg,
Thank
Erica. Have
you.
fun. All right. Erica's vamos. Now we have the 9, as I call you. The 9. All right, Jay. Jay's in San Diego, by the way. Don't know if she's a Padres fan. I just don't know. I don't know if she likes the Chargers. I don't know if she cares about the damn zoo, which seems to be pretty famous. She likes the zoo. She's right here. She can talk for herself. Doesn't see some
I'm just gonna
bald
do it all by
dude.
sign language.
The last thing any of us need is some bald, sleeveless guy in North Carolina mansplaining shit to any of us. Like, we're all tired of that shit. Anyway, good to see you again, Jay. It's been a minute. It's the last time I saw you was the other event, right?
Yeah, yep. Yep.
Was it the last? No, it was one of the
September 11th. Yeah.
It was September 11th. Yes. Thank you for being here. You have a story, and with your permission, after your story, people can shoot you a question or two if they want directly. I assume everyone knows how to direct message within chat, but you go to the chat and then you can see that little thing, and you can just, instead of doing it to everyone, which is not the end of the world if you do that, but ideally it's just to her. All right, cool, Jay. I want to hear your story. Everyone's muted, and whenever you're ready.
All right. So I could have been a detective. Not that I want to like plant evidence on innocent people to fake solve crimes or anything like that, but I'm persistent. You might say obsessive. So my first case started with this letter I got about a credit card I did not apply for. Back when identity theft was a new crime. And I launched into action like a dime novel detective on steroids. I had the latest invention. It let you investigate leads from wherever that you had a landline and a wire from your desktop computer to your phone jack. It was the internet, and it turned everyone into an instant detective and or stalker. So because this scammer got some of my info wrong, the bank rejected the application and just said I had nothing to worry about. Well, it was not in my personality not to worry when someone tells me not to worry. I started getting more letters from other banks. My privacy is something that I'm fiercely protective of. So someone using my name, my birth date, my social security number inflamed me. Was it a shady ex? And I had some. Was it a shady ex coworker? Also had some. Or just some loser I'd never met. The worst part was I had no control over it. I've always had a little trouble letting go. Kids who grow up in households with dysfunction or chaos often don't get their needs met. They tend to become controlling or compulsive as adults. In my upbringing, I was exposed to that. And as an adult, I had to be in charge. And I love math, which is perfect if you're obsessive. Like on road trips, I'd think it's fun to calculate in my head how long it'll take to arrive based on my current speed and how much faster I can get there if I increase speed by a couple miles per hour. And then I recalculate every few miles as I'm driving. And it's more fun than I Spy with my little eye. And maybe this is why I'm a loner. So I was going to solve this, and the perp would be punished. 6 banks now had sent me letters, and I knew that people could be jailed for crimes committed by their identity thief. No one knew how to deal with this crime, and there were no protections like credit freezes. My impatience took hold, and I had to feel like I was doing something. So I worked through this list of banks that I made. They couldn't give me details from the application because they were protecting the privacy of the person using my identity. So I started to lie and say, I haven't gotten my card yet. Where did you send it? And so that's how I got an address in fabulous Buckeye, Arizona. It's a town outside Phoenix. I reached a detective there named Detective Bill, who may in fact have been the town's only detective. And I told him I'd bagged the suspect, practically. And he, in a low drawl, said having an address wasn't enough. So I asked what he would need. He had never worked an identity theft case before himself, so he had to research it. And he told me he needed an IP address and copies of the applications. And he warned me this case was not a priority. Thanks, Detective Bill. Obviously, it was time to quit because I'm not a hacker. I barely knew what an IP address was. Also, I had a full-time job and my work was suffering. I was like up all night researching, and then every day I'd be calling banks, calling the police, all in pursuit of this nameless, faceless entity that could be anywhere in the world. What kind of mentally unstable person would engage in this fruitless endeavor? Well, I was one who, as a 14-year-old, recorded every calorie I ate every day for years. I'd add calories to a chart I then memorized, and then I counted how many laps I swam and how many calories that burned. And with all those calculations, I could avoid processing other parts of my life, like that I lived with emotional abuse, that I became depressed at age 12 and sought revenge, cold, underhanded revenge on those who hurt me. So being obsessive served as an escape from my unresolved trauma. So I started calling banks again and lying to find out that the person on the application was named Joanne Holmes. And later I got the employer and the phone number she listed, and an email, Chingy's Girl at Yahoo. What's a chingy? It's some rapper. So now I had nailed the perp, practically, but she got smarter, like some evil mastermind who loves rap. Because Miss Holmes now spelled my name correctly, I was now the owner of a Walmart card, which she tried to use on Black Friday in Buckeye. She was there. So I called the manager, asked her to review the video. She said the police had to request it. So now it was time for me to brief Detective Bill, who preferred fax over email. That's how old-fashioned he was. So I faxed him a stack of leads. He thanked me for doing his job, and I thanked the internet and the fact that no one at home had picked up the phone while I was using dial-up throughout this process. He had not gotten a subpoena yet, and so with no faith in the police, it was up to me. I recalled every time that I had tried to stand up for myself, only to be punished for it. There was no one to save me, like always. So off I went to call credit bureaus and search photos of real estate records. There was nothing searchable. I'd go through marriage records and reverse address searches. I've tracked down the homeowners who are in their 60s on a hunch, and I called them and introduced myself as a journalist, which I practically am, but not really. So now I was acting more and more like the criminal. And then it happened. She bought a Dell computer. Meanwhile, I had an e-machine, which was this ancient device even then. And that's when I got personal. If she was employed, I'd make sure she wasn't. I called her work number. I told them what Joanne Holmes was up to, and I invited them to call my partner, Detective Bill. Pumped with adrenaline, I then made a rash decision. I called the identity thief, and on her answering machine, I called *67 because that's what she had to do then. And on her answering machine, I said, "Hi, Joanne Holmes, AKA Chingy's girl. This is Jay Carroll. You've been using my identity. Please stop. I know who you are and I know everything." Click. I hung up the phone. The next day, Detective Bill called. And to my shock, he had subpoenaed Walmart. He had gotten her on video. He had raided her house, which was stuffed with packages. She was running this large identity theft ring. And he congratulated me and thanked me for letting him be his partner. So thanks, Detective Bill. But there was bad news. He had cased Miss Holmes's house the day before, but for some reason she had fled in the middle of the night. Something or someone had tipped her off. And it was unlikely that he would ever find her again without even knowing her name. So while I was busy playing detective, I forgot Joanne Holmes could be a stolen identity just like mine. I had cyberstalked people. I had possibly gotten an innocent person fired. And I had completely blown it with that phone call. A real detective knows when to bust them and when to do nothing. And I had been incapable of doing nothing because I was being reactive and letting my desire for control and revenge fuel my actions while I was like reliving the childhood traumas from years before. So I blew it, and that was my rookie mistake.
Boom. Jay Starlit Rider with the hat on.
Yes, this is my detective hat.
Okay, I got you. You're in character. Yes, okay. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks. That felt like it went really long. Sorry, I don't know.
It's okay. I'm not timing anybody. It's all good. I just don't want them to go like super long. But when we only have 4 or 5 people telling, we're looser. It's cool.
Thanks.
You know, the people that I know, especially those that always sit in the same chair, I'm so curious what's beyond the frame. Madeleine's always in this. I always see the same background for Madeleine. Always for Dottie. Though I know Dottie. I've been to Dottie's place, so I know it. Starlet, Barbara, always the same background, blurry like mine. Kostas, you changed things up a little bit. She's like, you got a new place? No, you're not moving from your place. That's a cool place. All right.
Did some painting and purging and rearranging.
Isn't purging hard, or was it not hard for you?
No, it is hard for me because I'm a little sentimental. So
Right. No, it's so hard. It's so weird. I'm doing the exact same thing. I've got like these several rather big boxes with all kinds of shit in it. I'm like, I'm never going to look at this ever. I know it. But I need them. And I know my life doesn't change if I just burn them all or just throw them out. It's fine. Everything's the same. But, not like burning them in a negative way. It's just like extra shit. Big boxes, they're just there. Did it feel good purging?
does it feel good? Did you say?
Did it feel for you? Did it feel something positive?
It does. It opens up. It does open up room for new, improved things that I use more, or people, or it just changes the energy of the whole place.
Yeah. Cool.
But I have a lot more to do.
Yeah. When you know better, do better. Am I right?
I mean, I still had cassettes, if you can imagine.
Don't be throwing those out. Are you kidding me? By the way, if you have a question for Jay, Starlit Writer, can you message her directly in the chat? It'll all make sense when we reconvene and we unmute. I'm not playing favorites here. I just want to add one thing because some people are unmuting. It's fine. We're loose. It's a small group. What? Wait, Maria just said something that really got me thinking about something, and now I'm blanking. I'm old. Okay, it'll come back. How was it? All right. This is the word. Like, this is bad TV. You don't like the host of a TV being like, I'm not sure. What was I supposed to say? Hey, like, that's just bad TV, man. Like TV 101, the class, if you took that class, TV 101, it's like, don't just have nothing to say and look like a schmuck. That's bad TV.
But luckily you're a podcaster, so you could just like cut it all out, right? You could just like re-edit it to make it seem like you were brilliant the whole time, right? Isn't that how that works?
I mean, some people might think I'm brilliant anyway all the time anyway, but you know, I might have to.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a great. Jay, I didn't even. Just want to let everyone know here who doesn't know, I do have a podcast, and I don't do this so that you know about the podcast. This is something like nefarious way that you're gonna. But I talk with suicide attempt survivors, and I'm
He
sharing.
hired me to say that, guys.
Yeah. I paid her $10 Venmo. No, but if you're a suicide attempt survivor, or you know somebody, or you might want to hear those kinds of conversations, then I invite you to have a listen. It's called Suicide Noted. I'll leave it there. You can find it anywhere you listen to a podcast. Done. All right. Maria, I'll remember what I was trying to say. I hope. Because it felt important. Hi, Barbara. As of right now, we've got Madeleine has got a story. Carlee, then Barbara, who had I was confused with Barbara. I something with our timing didn't work out, and Barbara was here a long time ago, and now she's back. Okay. We'll work it out. You're going to go last for now. And just Shirley and Keith and Jen and Katie. And I think it's Cairo. I want to pronounce, if you change your mind and you want to tell a story, you are absolutely welcome to. You can go after Barbara. But of course, if you want to hang out, just listen. That is totally fine too, of course. All right, Madeleine Holden and in Quebec, neighbors to the north. Good to see you. It's been a minute, young lady.
Yes, it has been a while.
I'm going to mute myself, and whenever you're ready to tell your story, we are all ears, okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to do this so I don't freak out. And,
Don't freak out. We don't want you freaking out, okay?
No, I know.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I'm sitting in a doctor's office in Saint Sacrament Hospital in Quebec City. It's summer, August 21st, and I really don't want to be here. At 56 years old, I've seen my share of doctor's offices, but this one feels different. Everything about this room is supposed to make the patient feel calm. The diplomas hanging on the wall from McGill, Laval University, to show the doctor is competent. All the furnishings are spick and span and shiny, not a speck of dust anywhere. And the desk is neat and tidy. Just a pen and a few prescription pads, and off to one side, the telephone and a computer where the doctor reads the file. The sun is pouring in, and that would normally make my heart sing, but my heart is pounding in my chest. I look to my right at my husband, Jean-Pierre, who's always beside me, and he's squirming in his chair, trying to get comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation. I look at the doctor, who's introduced himself as Eric Poirier, but ever since, he's just been staring at his screen and ignoring us. He's in his late 40s and has his head shaved clean, like some men do at that age who are looking to retain their cool. The sun is shining off his scalp, and I can see a diamond stud on his left ear sparkling, but it's just taking so long. I wait. Jean-Pierre fidgets, and we just can't believe we're here. Just a week ago, I said to my husband, let's get out of here. It's been one thing after another this summer. We need a break, and that's exactly what we did. A road trip, a favorite campsite on the North Shore of the St. Lawrence, a view of the Gulf, the breeze bringing in the smells of the sea, of seaweed, good food and wine and stories and company, infinite stars at night, and every once in a while, of a blowhole of a whale as it swims by, before it takes a deep breath to dive deep to feed in the krill-filled waters at the mouth of the Saguenay River. Then a message comes in on my phone. It can't be good when a specialist calls you back from a holiday. Finally, Dr. Poirier turns towards us. He puts his elbows on the table. He rests his chin in his clasped hand. I can see a blue feather is tattooed on the inside of each forearm. Oh, I hope it's a good sign. I think he's an artist. His blue mask makes his blue eyes even bluer, sadder. You have a malignant tumor in your left breast, and we need to talk about your options. I can see his mouth moving under his mask, but he's talking French, so I think I missed something. He's talking like, I don't know, like he thinks I have any choice in this matter at all. My heart skips a painful beat. Oh, Lord, how much more do you want from me? I mean, come on, really? I know we're not supposed to compare, and I also know that we don't always know what's going on in people's lives and minds, but is it my imagination, or am I getting more of my fair share of physical hardships in this lifetime? My mom says, God never sends us more than we can handle. Ugh. Oh yeah, I heard that one often in life. In rehab, after a car crash at 18, almost killed me, broke my neck, landed me in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, I had a thought. What if bad luck wasn't random at all? What if I was making these things happen? What if I was attracting all this negativity like a sacrificial lamb? Maybe I was taking one for the team. Maybe I could protect my family and friends and all their dirty little secrets from the evil eye. Yeah, I know, messed up, but I don't even know if it was drug-induced or these ideas were just the product of some twisted teenage mind who probably needed a whole lot of therapy. But that was my mindset after my accident. And it didn't work either. random violence and nasty bad luck was happening all around me. And all I could do was sit and watch in horror. Where was God then? I want to know. It all just seemed so pointless. There was this guy, Mark, lived next to me on the second floor. He once said to me, Madeleine, if I ever get cancer, fuck it, I'm out of here. No treatment for me. And a few years later, that's exactly what he did. It just seemed like such a waste, but that's what he chose to do with his free will. I have cancer. I could do that. Could I do that? I don't know. I mean, I wonder how long it would take. Jean-Pierre touches the hypersensitive skin on the inside of my wrist. A jolt of electricity flashes through my body, shocking me back to life, to the present, to this very room. Dr. Poirier continues, his tone soft, like he's trying to explain something that's almost impossible to understand. Some women, after hearing this diagnosis, just get up and leave and live their lives until, well, he doesn't finish the sentence, but he doesn't have to. I already have an image in my mind's eye of untreated cancer cells spreading and festering until they gather together as one alien to kill the host. Other women accept the surgery, but for whatever reason, fear or beliefs, they refuse to do the radiation therapy. And still others, well, they want to play the game, play the odds. They accept our recommendations and most fare very well. Because of your family history and regular mammograms, we caught this very early. It's treatable, and I have a plan to cure you, but it's entirely up to you, and there's no guarantees.
Thank you, Madeleine.
Nope, not yet. I'll finish.
Sorry.
Okay. I know. Frida Kahlo once said, at the end of the day, we can handle a whole lot more than we thought we could. And I say, despite myself, thank God for that. I take a deep breath before I dive deep into that well. That the one that we all have deep down inside of us, where there's a source of faith and strength and courage, things we don't even know we have until we need them. Before I lean in to say, when can we get started?
No, thank you very much, Madeleine. Thank
Okay.
you. How you doing? Thank you very much. You know what? Well, first of all, thank you for telling that story. And two, there's just one thing I didn't get, and I would never typically talk about this kind of thing of the story, but there was such a point of confusion for me. Did you say there was a guy who was middle-aged who shaved his head so as not to deal with aging and want to remain looking cool? I don't understand the whole premise of that. That seems like you might as well have said like Martians or aliens visited and did cartwheels on my lawn, and it's like, wait, what?
Funny.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, though, I think that if I was a middle-aged man and I was losing my hair, I would definitely shave my head, put a diamond stud in my left ear, and shine it up. There you go. That's what I would do.
So are you suggesting that I get a diamond stud in my left ear?
No, but that's what he had. This guy, that's an
Right
artist. An
Let me tell you
artist.
right now, I am
Tattoo,
not.
but the tattoos on the arms, that was hilarious because I did ask him about it, and he said, "Oh, okay, well, I'm a drummer," and
Of course, of
and
course.
of course I'm a drummer, and you know that guy in the drummer in Coldplay. Well, he's got them, and I think it's kind of cool. So it's
I'm more
anyway.
likely to get hoop earrings than I am to get a fucking diamond stud in my left ear. Okay, just saying.
Okay,
I'm not trying to
I-
compare it with the fancy doctor with tattoos. But anyway, thank you very much, Madeleine. It's good to see you. It's been a little while.
yeah, it's been well. I did one in August, but then shit hit the fan, right?
Yeah.
So
The proverbial, literally, and the proverbial fan, which never really goes away. There's always a big fan.
yeah,
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah, I know. All right. All right. So we got Carlee and Barbara and Maria. You see how this works? Carlee's doing something a little bit different. So prepare yourselves. Not your standard story thing. Carlee, I'm going to mute everyone, including Ms. Holden in Quebec and myself. And whenever you're ready, we want to hear this interesting. Let's call it live lit. We're in the midst of live lit. Carlee, break a leg, have some fun.
Thanks. I'm gonna preface by this is my first time on this meetup, and now that I've listened to some of y'all's shares, I'm not so sure if mine fits the criteria.
It's my group, and you're fine.
Cool.
Just I hope that's enough for you. Yeah.
Perfect. That is indeed. Let me pull this up. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah.
Cool. Alright. You injected me with the probability that I was worthless, something I will never forget. Telling me I was loved by something greater and above. Well, if words don't make actions, then they are false. So let me enlighten you with the flaws of your contradictory laws and actions. I'll speak my words as you preach your poison, playing pretend that you're someone anointed. You made me believe I was nothing important. Sit there in silence, forcing me to be dormant. Put me in a pen I was just for ignoring. My unconditional love, it is outpouring, and care for you is my sole employment. In fact, it was in place intended for torment. Every day lived in fear, that is far from enjoyment, and the healing that was promised was distant and foreign. You were ordained while I was disdained, holding me back just to help when you had me detained. Put me in handcuffs and give me those chains. Nothing you will do will change any of the pain. Everything is caught up in this head and my brain, but you can't reach inside. My heart's already been slain. Give me more agony. I've learned to contain. I forgot how to talk, so I cannot complain. No matter, anything I would have said would not be heard and in vain. So I'll keep my mouth shut as you arrogantly proclaim. Tell someone you care while killing them with your spiritual ridicule. Over and over, it became a daily ritual. Did you ever realize you were being so cruel? In a cult-like mindset, the majority doesn't rule. Depicting me as the offspring of something demonic. Isn't it ironic to think religion can change a disease that is chronic? So drink this tonic, this toxic Kool-Aid. Believing in this crusade of sick brainwashing, my faith was betrayed, not to be covered by a simple band-aid. I shouldn't have stayed, but if I were honest, I was too damn afraid. So, in conclusion, teach me that the posture of my back is wrong, that my face is oblong, and that I never had any ground to stand on.
I've learned my lesson from Madeleine. I'm gonna wait. Got it? You good? Thank you so much, Carly. That was so interesting. Where are you, Carly? Where do you live? Are you in the Triangle?
I'm in the Triangle.
Gotcha. Do you perform in the area?
I have a couple times. I haven't performed this poem before.
Mm-hmm.
But I have performed a couple times just at like a local open mic night.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you guys are from Raleigh, but in Raleigh, across from Meredith College, is my favorite coffee shop. It's called Lucky Tree Cafe.
Okay.
And every second and fourth Monday, they do open mics, and you can sing. I'm sure they let you do like a short story. Most of the people do like musical instruments or poetry or singing, and it's
Awesome.
it's amazing vibes and atmosphere. So that, in answer to your question, I have performed there a handful of times.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, no, it's all good. So just to be clear, folks here in San Diego and Chicago and Quebec, I expect to see you there in the next couple months, maximum, and Dottie in Boston. Get your asses down to Raleigh and support the artists across from Meredith College, which is a cool, funky space. I like Meredith in that area too. Did you go there by any chance? No, just a coincidence. Okay. Isn't Meredith an all-women's school? Was it still an all-women's school? Wasn't it one time an all-women's school?
I'm not sure if it still is, but it's historically is.
Right. Cool.
But
Yeah. Thanks again, Carly.
yeah, absolutely. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to put in the chat?
Yeah, put anybody that, yeah, I don't want to make anyone feel weird about having to put it, or so if you have a question, put in the chat. Carly and the other storytellers, tellers, performers, live lit masters. If you don't get a question, it's okay. But we'll also, time permitting, and time on my end is fine. After Barbara and then Maria tell their stories, we usually tend to hang out. It's a little looser. We can talk. So the questions can be discussed there too. All right, cool. Barbara Peterson she is a Sagittarius, if I'm not mistaken. No, fuck. I always get that wrong.
I'm an Aquarius.
Aquarius, not a Taurus, which was, I was about to say Taurus. That's also
No, my mother was a Taurus. My brother is a Sagittarius.
fuck. I always get this backwards. All right, you're an Aquarius.
Mhm.
Sun, moon, rising, moon, setting.
I think I do have a Taurus moon.
Who doesn't?
And I have a Venus and Mars conjunction in Pisces.
Hello, let's party. Now it's on.
Which is really strong for Pisces and really weak.
Transition to your story.
All right.
Barbara Peterson is here, ladies and gentlemen. So
And
I appreciate the blurred background vibe, which I've got that going too.
it has nothing to do with astrology.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm gonna mute myself and then we're
All
gonna
right.
have fun.
All right. Okay. You know those perfect little moments you have peppered throughout your life? The ones where you feel totally present and at peace, a moment carved out of ordinary time and space, ones that you know that this is exactly the place you belong. For me, these are always quiet, seemingly insignificant moments where the ordinary becomes imbued with the sense of a timelessness and the magic of a Norman Rockwell painting. I've had several of these, but there's one of these Rockwell-esque moments I've been replaying the most lately. It occurs during a visit years ago with my friend Joanne at her condo. We're sipping Bass ales and quietly talking about whatever we were talking about, and watching Jade, her 4-year-old daughter, so cute in her little Oshkosh Bagosh jeans, as she bounces up and down on the couch with unself-conscious joy while singing along to a DVD of The Little Mermaid. I first become friends with Joanne when I'm a 21-year-old graduate student at Tulane, and a mutual close friend brings her down to visit me. She impresses me with her loving, calm, quiet personality. She's artistic and self-possessed and seems wise beyond her years, yet always a bit elusive, a bit of a mystery, a characteristic that makes her a dude magnet. I mean, she doesn't dress provocatively or flashy, yet within minutes of walking into a bar and sitting down on a stool, Men will approach her from everywhere. She just exudes some sort of invisible womanly vibe that's like a dog whistle for men, a talent that I marvel at and envy. Joanne died this past August, yet I and her other friends and family became alienated from her many years ago. Joanne was like a changeling from the fairy tales and turned from the kind, caring woman we all knew into an angry, hateful one. This transformation was caused by a stutter in her genetic code, and it ordained a cruel fate from the moment she was conceived. This creature appeared to me 20 years ago when I'm surprised by the rare phone call from her. I'm happy to hear from her, but the Joanne I expect is MIA. Instead, I'm blindsided by some rageful stranger, excuse me. The cat. Instead, I'm blindsided by some rageful stranger I've never met, screaming at me, accusing me of being very rude and bossy to Dave, her boyfriend, during a camping trip we had been on a few weeks earlier. It was an emotional sucker punch, the worst and most baffling phone call I've ever experienced. She screams over and over, "Don't pretend you don't know what I'm talking about." But I'm in shock and I have no memory or clue about anything I could have said or did that was disrespectful. I've been good friends with Dave long before she met him, and now she has me second guessing and doubting myself, my behavior. Did I say something hurtful? Did I mistreat him? And so I go into appeasement mode and I say, I swear I have no memory, but I'll call him and apologize. But this does not mollify her. She keeps berating me and then hangs up. At which point I start sobbing, feeling humiliated and ashamed for something I don't remember. With great trepidation, I call Dave and I begin to apologize, but he stops me and tells me that I did nothing wrong, that Joanne's angry outburst was just her being protective of him, and I should just forget about it. Yet I know I will never trust her again. And a few years later, I receive another call from her, angrily shouting at me about some imagined slight, but I'm prepared and stop her before she gets rolling. And after this call, I realize something is wrong with Joanne. Something is really broken inside her. I confide in our mutual friend and find out that everyone Joanne knows has also been a target of these abusive calls. And the therapist Joanne's been seeing diagnoses her as having borderline personality disorder. But a few years later, it's revealed that her BPD is really a psychological manifestation of Huntington's disease, a rare genetic neurodegenerative disease inherited from her mother that progresses in only one direction: unstoppable psychological and physical deterioration ending in premature death, as the deformed proteins the mutated genetic code spins up slowly eats away at her brain tissues. Her mother had died of it, but they never told us exactly what was wrong with her. They carried this family secret for so many years. She spends the last 10 years of her life verbally and physically lashing out at her husband and the daughter she so loved before her descent into HD's mental hellhole. One time they have her arrested after a particularly violent, out-of-control attack. They make her spend a night in jail, hoping this tough love approach will shake her out of her denial of HD. But denial is one of the symptoms of this disease. Most people with HD don't realize their feelings and perceptions are gradually being warped. Over time, she reverts to eating and thinking like a child. Milk and cookies and McDonald's Big Macs are all she'll eat. A few months ago, she completely stopped eating and speaking and doing anything at all. And in 6 weeks, she was dead at the age of 67, on the day I was to see her for a final time. Dave calls me and asks if I could forgive her for the hurt she's caused me. And I truthfully say, there's nothing to forgive. Because when I learned she had HD, any antipathy I felt towards her evaporated. Something out of her control took her away from us, from her true nature, and ultimately from life. I mourn her passing and imagine how awful it must have been for Joanne to live knowing there was a 50-50 chance she inherited the gene, and in her 30s or 40s she could become this twisted changeling from the fairy tale and die prematurely. and that her daughter now has a 50% chance of inheriting this fate. So when I think of Joanne, I choose to remember the whole and happy woman I shared that perfect moment with years ago. In that frozen memory, she lives again as my loving friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. Damn.
It's just so sad. You know, the idea that from the moment of your conception, something can says, okay,
Yep.
you're gonna have a really shitty life from the time you're like,
Yeah.
it's just a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Are you wearing a hat? You always wear a hat, don't you? Barbara, you're muted.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm saying yes and I'm muted. Yeah.
It's kind of funky because it's mostly blurred, but you can
In a
kind of
second.
tell. It's almost like you and Jay got together before the event and you're like, let's wear hats.
Jade, we aren't going to say, but
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And actually, yeah, this. I also have names for my hat to you. Like this is Frank, like Frank Sinatra. And then I got one that I call Becky, like it's from Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm.
Oh yeah, everyone.
They
does.
all have little nicknames.
Oh.
Like yeah, like yours is definitely like gangsta, 50s gangsta.
Are you? Oh, you're like the hat namer. You're the hat namer whisperer.
You're
So what do you want to call Jay's hat?
like I said, it's like she's like a 50s
No, we need a
gangsta.
name, but a name.
Oh, a name. I don't.
Like
Okay.
Frank.
How about Al Capone?
No. Oh, you go by like actual people's names? I thought you said like.
Well,
Frank.
I mean, you want me to give it a name? I said it just kind of reminds me of some kind of like, you know.
Louis. Louis? What about Louis? No.
Louis. Okay, Louis.
Sammy.
Yeah.
Sammy the hat. Okay. It's literally on Jay's head. She's wearing Sammy the hat. Okay. She has no say in this, apparently. We're just deciding for her. Shut up, Sean.
I do like that hat. I like it a lot.
I like it. I like both your hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I never thought
Are
of
you-
it.
Are you petite too? Because it's like I can't wear really big brims, or I kind of look like I'm wearing mom's clothes or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm small, but my head is actually huge, so I'm limited in the hats that I can wear, like by how wide they are.
You have a large hat. I didn't notice that.
It's my
Yeah, but
big
you're-
hair. I
but
have
you're-
giant hair. It's like
Yeah.
really
Right.
big.
That's not the same as having a large head.
It's
It's
okay.
hair.
It's a big head and big hair. If we want to get really
There's a
personal.
lot up here. There's a lot going on up here, apparently, Jay.
Well, I figure you probably have a small face because you got the small brim and it looks best. You know, the smaller stuff usually looks best on small faces.
Barbara's
In
a
my
hat
so
whisperer.
humble opinion.
Barbara's the hat whisperer. So
I
she
didn't
knows what
know
the
there
fuck
was
she's
hat
talking
expert here.
about.
This is
Yeah,
like
oh yeah.
free hat advice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Carlee's dog's getting a grooming.
All right.
I'm not happy about it at all.
We do have one
I'm
more
yelling at my
storyteller.
cat for
All right.
scratching the furniture.
We have one more storyteller, and then we could unmute and get all whack and learn more about Carlee's dog grooming and other things. Maria Kostas in Chicago, Illinois. And when I say Chicago, I don't mean like she lives near Chicago or in the suburbs of Chicago, but she says Chicago because she thinks, well, maybe this person doesn't know much about Chicago. No, she's in Chicago, the city of Chicago. She's in it, in the city. And she's purging a lot to create new energies. See how I butcher all of that from earlier.
Yeah, no, that was it. Yeah. Make space.
Stuff going out, other stuff gets to come in, and then there's fire in there somewhere, literally or metaphorically. I don't need to know right now. All right, Maria, I'm going to stop talking, and then we're going to listen to your story.
All right, I'm going to read this because it's I just want to say I wrote this years ago,
Oh,
before I ever was doing any storytelling, and I'm found it and I'm going to revisit it and
Cool.
maybe do
awesome,
something.
awesome. Perfecto.
My 88-year-old grandmother has asked me to take her to the cemetery. My grandmother, I consider her a healer in her own right, a woman who accepts people as they are. She really understands unconditional love. And she always told us to be our own judge. A woman who is connected to life through food, through family. She's someone who healed herself over and over again with her own little home remedies, which she taught to us. And she has so much of her spirit in her body, which she keeps moving. She shops daily for her food. She cooks daily, cleans daily. At 88 years old, when I picked her up, she was standing on the ladder washing her walls of her kitchen. She walks the neighborhood and she's always laughing, constantly finding things to laugh at. She laughs so hard, she has to run to the bathroom, tears falling from her eyes. But here she is at the cemetery, and she's standing over her youngest son's grave, her baby boy, my uncle. And I stand a few feet behind her watching. And as she bends down, she is wailing. I mean, the kind of wailing you would see in a Greek tragedy, the kind of wailing you might even hire this kind of person if you wanted a professional mourner. She's just wailing so loud. I've never heard anything like it. And as I watched, I felt nothing. I didn't feel anything for her. Although I know that I love her, and I felt nothing for my uncle, my favorite uncle. But I remember that I did love him. Oops. You see, sorry. You see, I've had years of feelings piled on me from when I was a kid. Other people's energy. I could feel their hurt. I could feel their pain. I could feel their punishments. It was just too much. And then I had my own. I mean, as a kid, I would watch television and just escape into the screen. So happy that some TV show, some actress could just take me out of the house for just a few seconds. And I swore, God, if I could ever do that for anyone, I would do it for free. I felt my mother's anger and disappointment at my father. I felt my sister's frustration, having to put a lock on her door so my father wouldn't steal her jewelry. I just felt too much. Then there was nowhere to put it. And then as I got older, then there was shame thrown on me and guilt that I accepted. It was just too much. And so I used every tool that I had to just push it down. I didn't want to feel anything. I just shut down, self-contained. I didn't feel bad. I didn't really feel good. I didn't feel anything. I was just cruising along, witnessing what was happening. And if anything did get in, if it felt like any life might come in and touch me, my immediate reaction was anger. For instance, there was a man in my neighborhood. He sat in a wheelchair each morning, and he took off his 2 prosthetic legs and planted them in front of him so that everyone could see them as he asked for money. And he was a young man. And my reaction would be to cross the street so I didn't have to look at him, because I was like, how dare you make me try to feel something? I just crossed the street. And so here I am with my grandmother. Sorry, it's on another page. And so here I am with my grandmother. And I watch her bent over crying, wailing. And she looks up and she notices a plant that someone left. and she sees that it's in need of water, for the flowers were wilting. Look, she says to me. Her crying stopped immediately. Look at such a beautiful plant, and it needs water. Hurry up, go to the pump and get some water. And in that moment, as I sat and witnessed my grandmother move that grief out of her body without holding back, she moved all that energy out of her body, and then she had room to see the plant and move right back into love for life, for the life of the flower. And I just watched this, still feeling nothing at all. But I said to myself, that's what I want. I want to live like that. I want to feel life in every moment, the good, the bad. I want to feel the beautiful, and I want to allow any negative to just move through me, allowing me to just feel it and let it go. I want that. And although it was a thought in my head, not a feeling in my heart, I realized in that moment, my grandmother, just by being in her body, in the present moment, just by being who she was, spirit and energy and motion, without asking any questions or analyzing why I was so still in that moment, just by her being in her own space, she gave me a healing. And she received a healing too, from the plant around her. And so as a healer, sometimes I think the best healing we can offer someone is to just be ourselves, to be in the present moment with all the life experiences that are there. And in that moment, I started to change.
Okay, Kostas. All right. Thank you very much, Maria.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. Okay. So, all right. Thank you to our 6 storytellers / poets. Poet, singular. I mean, we're all kind of poets, loosely defined. We're all poets here. I mean, story is a form of poetry. Baldness is a form of beauty. If I'm a poet, I can say such a thing. Rhyme, rhyme, ding, ding, dang, dang, boom to the boom, boom. All right, so let's do this. As always, if you want to send any of the storytellers, other than Erica, who's no longer here, a question directly, you can do that. Or conversely, what I'm going to do right now is just stop recording. I wanted to catch those stories and record them. So let me stop recording. It's probably going to be a loud, maybe British woman saying,